Well, good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, and you have found yourself at the Essential Oil Show here on Awaken the Dream Radio. And today is Monday, February 17th, and boy, do we have a fun broadcast in store for you tonight. One of the things with the Essential Oil Show is that I'm interested in having some rotating co-hosts. I'll always be involved, but I just love the opportunities to have different people with different perspectives and different experiences to come on the show and share with us in a way that really assists us in learning something new, in expanding our thought process around essential oils, and also learning about some of the latest developments and research that is happening. So, for tonight's broadcast, I am particularly excited. Our co-host tonight is Daniel Benitez, and he is very accomplished in the world of essential oils. He has been involved with essential oils for the last 14 years, and the last 5 years he's been with doTERRA. He has over 22,000 people in his organization, and so what I wanted tonight's show to be about, and in my discussions this past week with Daniel, is to give us an opportunity, and really Daniel an opportunity, to share some of the stories. That many years in the field of essential oils, that many people that he is affecting and having contact with, and the stories make it real, because it's one thing to read in a research manual or research paper that a certain oil is antibacterial and will get rid of this and assist with that. It's a whole nother story when you hear it from the mouth of the mother or the father of that child that got well because of the oils, or direct from the mouth of the person that had that experience. And so that's what tonight's show is. The title is, he says without looking at it, Essential Oils, the proof is in the stories. And it is absolutely my pleasure to introduce to all of our listeners, Daniel Benitez.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Every time I have the opportunity to share some of my experiences and the way the essential oils have helped me in my life, improved my life, my family's life, I am very grateful for that, and I hope that some of the stories I share tonight, we can have some positive influence in your listeners.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure. So Daniel, the very first question, I guess, is in my interaction with so many people that are just loving their essential oils and the experience that they have with essential oils, one of the things that I see in all those people that is like the common thread is that everybody has stories of their own, either involving themselves or their immediate family of how the oils shifted things, or at times really have changed things dramatically. So what I'd like to start off with, since this is the proof is in the stories, Daniel, if you could share with us a story that's just directly from your experience in your life. I know you've got a wife, and you've got, 5 children and one more on the way?
I know, if you can believe that, 6 children and at home, and really it's with my family that my experiences with essential oils began. I remember one night my son Alex, who was 7 at the time, I remember he came to our room and he was gasping for air, and he couldn't breathe. He was coughing. It was that barky cough that every parent hates to hear. So I knew his trachea was swollen. My wife immediately said, hey, Daniel, go get the oils. To be honest, I was thinking, how about 911, So she says, go get the oils right now. So we put Breathe, which is an essential oil that helps to open the airways. We put Breathe in his chest. We put Balance essential oils in his forehead. We put the essential oil on guard that is for the immunity, and his feet. We put frankincense. We bathe him with essential oils. And as soon as we put these oils, he quit gasping for air. And 45 minutes he was sleeping. He was in his bed. So that saved us from going to the emergency room, paying those high bills. And to be honest, that was one of the things that changed my life about essential oils, because it made me realize that I have something that is very powerful in my house. You know, I was in charge of my own health and my kids' health. So that I will tell you, that was my first story when it came to testing the oils, you know.
And Daniel, I love this story because even more so than when, like, you and I are not feeling well, when our children don't feel well, as a parent, when our children don't feel well, all we want to do is fix it right away. And when you said, you know, your wife asked for the oils and you were thinking 911, I thought back, you know, I've got a 13-year-old daughter now, and I thought back to, you know, all the times in her life that things happened, and essential oils were always there for us. And so, but there were times that, you know, I was on the phone calling the nurse practitioner, you know, to get that additional thing, because you just don't want to see your kids in any sort of discomfort. And when you mentioned Breathe, now this is a doTERRA blend. It supports the respiratory system. Breathe and Balance were two of the blends you mentioned. These are two of my very favorite oils. Balance is the grounding blend. I use that every morning. And Breathe, I've made an inhaler of Breathe. And when I take my dog, Jake, or when he takes me on our gratitude walk each morning, I'm using that inhaler and sort of embracing the day with clear and very open and expansive nasal passages. So I love that you mentioned two of my favorite blends in your very first story.
And, you know, and most experiences people have with essential oils seem like very simple, you know, but like Melaleuca getting rid of my friend's athlete's foot, you know, like Deep Blue helping my neighbor with lower back pain. But the truth is, these simple experiences, you know, are a really big deal for these people because it really helps them. And you know what I mean? You know, essential oils are something that some people are not aware of, or they're just learning. But whenever they start trying these oils and you see the miracles in their lives, it's what makes, you know, the stories powerful. You know, when somebody comes and tells me, you know, I feel much better. Thank you for sharing these oils with me. So.
And that's a great point, Daniel, because, you know, as I'm sitting here at the moment, I don't have any issues with athlete's foot. So I hear someone's athlete's foot is, you know, went away through the use of Melaleuca. I love hearing that, but at that moment that I'm hearing it, I realize that it's not as big of a deal for me as it probably was for this person who probably had athlete's foot for quite a long time. It was probably very uncomfortable and not finding very good solutions. So I don't want us to gloss over these things too quickly because I know that somebody's either listening to this right now or will listen to it in the archive and hear athlete's foot, and that may very well be their thing. So let's just address that real quickly since you brought it up. Melaleuca is tea tree oil. And
tea tree oil.
It is an excellent oil with doTERRA. And by the way, let's just put that out here because we have to do this every show, and it's not just about doTERRA, but I'd like to hear you speak for just a moment about therapeutic grade and why the quality of oils makes a difference. Because I get nervous that people are going to hear, oh, Melaleuca for athlete's foot, and go out and get an inferior, lesser quality tea tree oil that's inexpensive and just off the shelf at some little store, and they won't have an experience that is at the experience you and I are talking about. So go ahead and talk therapeutic grade with us.
Perfect. That's a good point, Mark. And I was just in Mexico last week. I was in a farm that produced essential oils, you know, and I was smelling the oils. There was actually lavender essential oil, the one that they were producing. And as I smelled the oil, I started thinking, you know, this oil, this plant that I just, you know, experienced, it is pure, right? It was straight from the plant, and I felt it, and there was nothing in it. Now, the difference with other essential oils and doTERRA essential oils is the potency. And the potency is not guaranteed in other oils, and I'm going to tell you and explain why. We have a certification. It's called the Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade Essential Oil Certification. What that means is that we go through the process of doing a lot of tests to make sure that you have the best oil at home in your bottle, and your bottle is the best oil you can find. We certify these oils to make sure that they have the chemical profile at its highest level. That's why we distill the essential oils from the place of origin. For example, I was just telling you about the lavender that I smell in Mexico that is pure. Yes, it's pure. But what we bring is the lavender from France. Different soil, different altitude, different place. The distillation process is different. So what we want to have in your bottle and your oil is all the chemical profile of the plant complete. So if we say Melaleuca to get rid of athlete's foot, we want to make sure that Melaleuca has everything and nothing less than Melaleuca, and it has the highest potential. The potency of this plant has to be at the highest level. Otherwise, it's not going to work. That's why some people will go through a bottle of Melaleuca and say, this never cured my athlete's foot. So the potency is the most important thing when it comes to essential oils, and doTERRA has it. So that's why we feel so confident that we can not only just put it topically, but you can also ingest our essential oils. And most essential oils you get from the health food store will say not for internal use. doTERRA's one, on the other hand, has a supplement fact label that indicates that it's safe to take it internally. And it's only fair, to say that there are other essential oils on the market that are pure, like I was telling you about lavender and other oils. And most companies, like I was telling you, don't go through the process and the expense, I would say, to certify these oils the way we do it. So I think the potency is important, just as the purity.
Absolutely, and that's a good point. I mean, I feel great when I look at the side of the bottle and it's got the supplement facts on it, because then they absolutely have prepared it in a way that they know there's a good chance I'm going to be putting it into my body. And these other ones where, I've seen the oils, and some of them even say organic, and then they say, oh, not for internal use. And I'm like, oh, wait a sec. Why not? That oil by doTERRA is for internal use, and here they're saying organic and all this. And so the whole labeling thing, really pay attention. I spoke to someone the other day, and I walk a fine line with this radio broadcast, because it was never set up to be an ad for doTERRA. It just happens that through my experience of, working with essential oils for the last 18 years, that I found myself now with doTERRA, and I love it, and I love the consistency, and I love the quality, and I can recommend it to people without concerns. I also know that there are some other oils out there that are at a level that is also of that level that they can be ingested and everything else. But I will tell you, and this caught me off guard the other day, I was talking to a doctor who uses essential oils, and the doctor was telling me that one of their clients went out and used a labeled therapeutic grade frankincense oil, but it wasn't doTERRA. It wasn't a company that I knew of, but it was labeled on the label therapeutic grade, and they broke out with a really bad rash.
Wow.
And then they got the doTERRA frankincense, and they had no issues at all. And that was the first story I've heard where therapeutic grade on the label, obviously it was mislabeled, or they lied, or they cut some sort of corner with it, and it concerned me. So I just tell people, do your research, find out about the companies, spend time on their websites, research what other people are saying. You cannot cut corners when it comes to essential oils. Too much of it goes directly into your bloodstream, or you're putting it in veggie caps and putting it directly in your body. This is a point that we will mention every single broadcast about essential oils, because what I don't want to have happen is someone to hear that oregano is great and go out and get a lesser quality oregano, put it into a veggie cap, have it not be of the quality that should be ingested, and run into issues. You know, I'm here to help people and get the right information out, and the quality is so important.
And I love, you know, the way you say things, you know, because it is about quality. And some people, you know, just have to have an experience in order to know that the quality is important. And, you know, be a product of the product is, I think, the most important thing, because you have to try the product to make sure that it works. And like I tell you before, you know, we have so many experiences with this, and giving oils to people that have been trying other stuff and didn't work, and then we give them more oils, and they're like, wow, this is amazing, you know. Let me just tell you an experience with my wife. One day she was running outside. She likes to run. And she came back from the park, and she had a stuffy nose. She was sneezing. She didn't feel good. She was miserable. And what she was experiencing was basically a reaction to the chemicals that they had a spray in the grass that morning. So, and she was breathing the weed thing that they put to kill the weeds.
Insecticides or pesticides.
The pesticides. So I remember, you know, she suffered almost all day for her, you know. And what we did is this, and I'm going to give you the recipe. So, and the people that are listening maybe want to write it down. You know, she took 5 drops of each of lavender, lemon, and peppermint in a capsule. All right, so 5 drops of lavender, lemon, and peppermint. 20 minutes later, her sinuses were clear. That's all it took. So those little things, those experiences, you know, that can change the way you feel almost instantly, are what, you know, have us hooked into this essential oil world. You know?
Because, you know, that's true. Because I know people with allergies and things like that, and it just, you know, when something affects you like that, it changes the energetic of your entire day, or it gives you one more thing that you've got to overcome, one more thing that you've got to transmute with your attitude or with your energy field or whatever to make it a good day. And so to be able to take something and, you know, in 15, 20 minutes be feeling so much better is a great testimonial.
It's great. And, you know, essential oils, they get absorbed through your pores, to your bloodstream, in about 30 seconds. Okay, so let's say you put essential oils on the bottom of your feet. Let's say that you want to apply this topically. In about 30 seconds, you're going to feel something in your body, something that is working in your body. As a matter of fact, you can taste the essential oils when you put them in your feet. You can taste them in about, you know, 30 seconds as well. And what it does is the essential oils start, you know, functioning this way. Essential oils are lipophilic. You know, most of our bodies are water. I don't know if it's 75% or 80%. I can't remember. But our essential oils are lipophilic. You've seen it before, I'm sure, Mark, that you put in 1 drop of oil in a glass of water, and the oil just kind of floats around, right? Mm-hmm. Now, with our bodies, even though they're water, you know, the essential oils get absorbed through the cells. That's where they're lipophilic. They get through the fat, through the lipo, and they go into our cells, and they penetrate the cells. That's how powerful they are. That's why you can feel the effects of the essential oils as up to 7 days in your body, because of the powerful activity that they have whenever they penetrate into the cells. Now, not every active ingredient out there can penetrate the cells, you know, but essential oils can do that. And I think because of the creator of these plants, you know, I'm Christian, so I believe that there was a higher power that created these plants, and they were given to us with that purpose, to heal our bodies.
That is absolutely right. And it's, I mean, and that's it. I mean, that's what we're working with here, is the concentrated life force energy of these different plants, or, you know, whatever it is, and that's it. There's nothing else that's in there. You know, it's just like the purity from source, from God, from the universe, and it's here to help us. You know, and it's so funny that we were speaking the other day that people call essential oils, like alternative medicine. Well, at least they're calling it medicine, but alternative medicine. And what's funny about it is, regular conventional medicine has just been around 100 years. Well before that, we were working with plants and essential oils, and so it's just what comes around goes around, and thank goodness we're coming back around to really understanding and valuing what these plants and these essential oils can do for us.
Definitely. And, there is a learning curve, to learn about essential oils. Some people may feel like, hey, I don't know, I'm not sure if I should put this oil here or there. For example, I'll give you an example. I have a cousin, and he has many kids as well. And one time, one of his kids had fever, and he called me. He's like, you know what, nothing is working. I've been trying, Tylenol and ibuprofen and all those things. And I said, well, how do you feel about giving him, just putting essential oils on the bottom of his feet? He's like, well, I'm not sure, man. He may, I don't know. He didn't feel confident. And then I just put it in simple words to him. I said, listen, you're giving your child a chemical to his body. You're giving him Tylenol. Now, if I will show you under the microscope the chemical constituents of the Tylenol, and then I will show you the chemical constituents of an essential oil, I will guarantee you will give him our essential oil. In this case, it was peppermint that I suggested. And, it took him a while to think about it, and now, this day, he is an advocate to the essential oils. He loves essential oils. Now he's like, I threw away all those medicine that I have in my cabinet, and now all I have is my family physician kit. I have my doctor, at home with these essential oils.
Now, Adele and I went a couple weeks ago over basically the family physician kit, and one of the things I loved about it was the graphic where it says, here are the things in your medicine cabinet that this oil will replace, and like with lavender, it replaces sleeping pills and things, the medicines to relax people and this and that. But I just love that because it's we get so used to just going down to the pharmacy, and buying something, but it's exactly what you said. It's synthetic. It's not natural. And yes, those things can tend to work with the symptoms, but they don't get enough into the root of what's going on, and that's the other thing that I really love about essential oils. Now, you must have some other stories revolving around the kids. Give us what's the age range of the kids at this point?
All right, so I have a 14-year-old boy, then I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and then I have a 7-year-old little girl, a 3-year-old little girl, and I have my wife is expecting, and I'll have a baby in 11 weeks. So,
oh my goodness.
When you have a full house of kids, they go to school, they come back from school, and they have something,
Right.
So most of the things that we treat at home are stomach flus. We have an essential oil that is wonderful. It's called Digestin. That is totally for the digestive system. It's a combination of fennel and peppermint and anise and all these essential oils. What you do is you apply it on the bottom of the feet or directly on their stomach. Like the other day, my kid came back from the school. He's like, I don't feel good. So I said, well, let me just put the oils on you. And you know what's so amazing? That they ask me to put the essential oils on them. They come to me and say, hey, Daddy, can you put Digestin on my belly? And for me, that is the biggest testimony that I have because they don't know about doTERRA. They don't know about anything about network marketing or selling oils or anything like that, but they know that the essential oil they're asking will help them. And that is something that touches my heart because I know that I have a product that is going to help my kids. So Digestin for their stomach. They have a cough, for example. I put the essential oil of breathe, frankincense, and lavender. It helps them tremendously to get rid of that cough or the phlegm that they may have on their chest.
Now, do you put that on their, Daniel, do you put that on their feet or are you putting that on their chest?
That one is in the chest.
Okay.
So you can apply the oils in different places, the bottom of the feed is really good. And for some oils, for example, like On Guard or oregano, even including peppermint that are a little hot per se, I put them on the bottom of the feed. Now, it's always good to know that some kids may have sensitive skin. So you may want to add, a carrier oil. In this case, we have a fractionated coconut oil to this oil, so the absorption rate is, slower. Because once you put the oil in your skin, it's in. You can't get it out because it's an oil. But once you have a carrier oil, the absorption is slow, so it's not as irritating. As it could be as natural in there. So.
And if there is, an oil that you've put on your child or yourself or anyone, and it is a hot oil, meaning that it's, you're feeling it, it's maybe starting to have a little burn or something, you can take any sort of carrier oil, whatever you've got. I remember the first time that I knew about this, I accidentally got a little bit of oregano on the top of my daughter's foot. And it was fine on the bottoms of her feet, but when I just touched the top when I was putting, her foot away, she said, "Oh, Daddy, it's starting to burn." I didn't have any fractionated coconut oil, which I love, but I ran downstairs and got olive oil and put some olive oil on it, and it cut it right away. If I had put water on it, what would have happened? It would have made it worse.
Right. It is.
So these are good things to know and to pay attention to.
Yes, and with children, always be careful, because their skin, like I said, is more sensitive. But and for example, my kids, they've been using oil since they were born. As a matter of fact, whenever we go to the hospital to deliver these babies, my wife puts lavender on her belly to relax the uterus so she can relax herself. So when my babies are born, they come almost sleeping, and they don't even cry sometimes, but they are totally healthy, so my kids grow with these oils. So, for example, Breathe. We were talking about Breathe for congestion and colds and things like that. We put that directly on on their chest, 4 or 5 drops, and, and it's an excellent oil. It's an antibacterial oil, antifungal, expectorant. So that's actually Breathe. I don't know if you know this, but it's one of the top sellers that the company has.
I didn't know that, but I'll just quickly share my story about Breathe. When I first got the oil, I absolutely loved it, and I right away made an inhaler of it, which is just a great thing. You don't have to, it's just easy. You don't have to have the liquids on you. You don't have to get the oils on your hands if you're doing things. And so, again, it was when I was walking my dog, in the first 4 days that I had the inhaler, I used it every day while I was walking Jake. And by about the 4th day, I was really clearing a lot out. Like I was coughing a lot up during the walk and everything, to the point. And I didn't connect it with the Breathe at all. I got home and I said to Laura, I'm like, something's going on because I'm expelling a lot. And then I thought, then my mind always goes to, well, what have you changed recently? And I think to my diet, immediately always. And then I was like, oh, wait, I've been breathing this Breathe in every day on my walk. And it's like, wow, it doesn't just smell good and make me feel good. It's actually loosening up, breaking up all of this congestion or just gunk inside my lungs, and it was fascinating. I don't go through that process anymore. So for me, it was just something that happened in the beginning, and just like these high quality essential oils do, they repel toxins. And but that was just because I had no idea until I started thinking about it. I was like, wow, that is from the Breathe. And so that's an oil that, you have an experience like that. Again, the proof is in the stories. You have an experience like that, and you realize, this is medicine at the highest level. It's not just something that smells good. And that's one of the things that I've run into a lot with people, is that they don't always take the essential oils seriously in the beginning because it's over the counter, and it's just an oil in a little bottle, and what could it really do kind of thing. They don't really get the huge benefits that are going to happen until they have a story of their own and an experience of their own.
Definitely. And, I think that in the next few years, we're going to be seeing more about essential oils than before. And I tell you what, I've been working with a lot of hospitals in this area. I actually live in Tennessee, and there's a hospital called Vanderbilt, which is one of the highest rated hospitals when it comes to emergencies for children. And Vanderbilt Hospital is actually using essential oils in their emergency room. They're using lemon, wild orange, peppermint to change the way they feel, to change the way they see things. I think is the most important thing. And we are partnering with this, with the other type of medicine, and that makes it special. And some people think like you were saying, will this bottle work? Will this essential oil do something on me? But whenever you see hospitals integrating or medicine, which is essential oils, it has something. There's something special, and not just Vanderbilt, but I have a whole list of other 50 hospitals that are currently using essential oils in their practice. Other countries in Europe, I will say they're more advanced because they're already using essential oils. They're using oils to get rid of bacteria. For example, On Guard, and that's a blend of essential oils that is great to treat MRSA, which is a devastating virus that they can't kill, or bacterial that they can't kill with antibiotics, and it grows in hospitals. We're getting rid of that. There's a website that the government has put together for this type of research, and it's PubMed, PubMed.gov. It's PubMed.gov. You can put On Guard essential oil, and it gives you the research that has been done on this oil by killing pathogens like MRSA in this case.
And that's a big deal. I mean, MRSA is a pretty scary thing. And what did I read about On Guard recently? I mean, I think it was that it kills 99.9% of germs and bacteria or something. I mean, I don't want to say it without it in front of me, but the statistic was, out of this world kind of thing, where it's like, oh, yes, well, of course that makes sense. You were talking about oils on the feet, and one of the I mentioned before that I love this blend called Balance. It's the grounding blend, and it is it just has an exceptional, to me, it's got an exceptional feeling that happens to me when I use it. And it's got spruce and rosewood and frankincense and blue tansy and in a base of fractionated coconut oil. But there's a video online of a type of technology or equipment called dark cell microscopy. And what they do for this video is apparently a man came in and they took a drop of his blood and they look at it under this really high-powered microscope, and they can see how the blood cells are acting. And in this particular one, when we see it, all the blood cells are clumped up together. In one point, it actually looks like they're doing a conga line. They're all they're all spiky. They're not supposed to be spiky. They're supposed to be round, and they're not supposed to be clumped up. And so, this person came in, they took his blood, put it under the dark cell microscopy, and saw all this. Then they put a drop or two of Balance on the bottoms of his feet, and they wait 30 seconds, like you said, Daniel, just 30 seconds, and they take another drop of blood, and they look at it immediately under the microscope, and what do you see? I mean, it looks like it's from a completely different person. The blood cells are round, they're not clumped up, they're moving around, cleaning the blood just the way they're supposed to, in 30 seconds. So people say to me, oh, I don't know what oil to get or what I should do. And I'm like, well, I can tell you right now, there isn't a person I've met that couldn't benefit from Balance. Everyone can benefit from this oil. And let's face it, I only know about my life and the people that come to us as our clients. But based on that, it seems like, there's a lot of chaos out there and stuff, and it's easy to be ungrounded in this human experience. Balance makes all the difference.
Definitely. And Balance is an oil, it's a blend oil that is geared towards the central nervous system, and other body systems. But for people that suffers from mood swings, anxiety, temper problems, ADD, autism, bipolar conditions, everything that has to do with the emotional nervous system can be treated with this essential oil. As a matter of fact, I have a son that has a disability. He has autism, and this is the only essential oil that can help me calm him down. I've tried all the ones and all the things, but with this essential oil balance applied on the forehead, I bathe him when he goes to school, because I want him to be okay. So I put this essential oil on his forehead, on his feet, on the soft tissues on his arms, and it works. It's amazing. He calms down. It's like I'm balancing him down. And this grounding oil, that's what I call it, is a grounding oil. You can also diffuse in the air. It's very effective whenever you diffuse it in the air, and you can inhale it. I mean, you can put it on. You can have it on the go. You can take it with you if you feel stressed or anything like that. So.
Nice. That's great. Now, here's what I want to get into a little bit. When we talk about the stories, what we find when people share their stories is that somewhere in the story something happened, and it may be that they were already open to it, but a belief system opens up that says these can work, that says this can be better than going to the emergency room right now or something like that. And so it's really important to realize that it's not just the essential oils. We take an active role in our healing process, and how our minds work and what we believe will happen can be the tipping point a lot of times to big success and big results from things. So, Daniel, that being said, do you have some stories or a story that is, one of those really big stories? Like I remember when I took the Aroma Touch training to get certified to do the Aroma Touch modality technique. And one of the stories I heard was about a gentleman, a younger man who had been paralyzed. And his mother learned Aroma Touch and started doing it every day, and he was starting to get feeling back in his legs. I haven't found the story recently, and so I don't have all the details. But do you have some stories along those lines that are just, athlete's foot is one thing, but as far as I know, no one's going to die from athlete's foot if it gets carried away. You know what I mean? But there are stories where things are so big for people. And I know I just want to see where you go with this.
Perfect. No, that's great. I have many. I'm just thinking about one right now that happened to me when I joined this company, doTERRA, about 5 years ago. We went and did a training on essential oils on this little town in Utah, and it was a group of people that wasn't part of our team. We just went there to help somebody, a friend of ours, and we were there, and there was a person that came to us at the end of the training. There was a guy. He's been sitting in the back, folding his arms, thinking, watching us. I watched him from the front, and something was going on, and I didn't know. I was like, wow, okay, I wonder what he's going to ask me or tell me, right? So he comes to the front, and he says, listen, guys, I want to tell you something. You're telling me all these wonderful things about essential oils, but do they really work? He said. And I said, well, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. And he says, well, I've been diagnosed prostate cancer. I say, well, I'm sorry to hear that. He's like, I have no much time to live. I'm very advanced. That's what they told me. And I don't want to have an operation because I believe that natural things can help. That's what he said. At that point, a bottle of lavender is not the cheapest bottle to have. It's like, it's not cheap, let's put it that way. And I have one bottle that I had saved because it's frankincense essential oil is a precious oil. I mean, you can use frankincense for everything, and it'll work, and I knew that. So I said, why don't you take this bottle and just try it. Try this bottle and take it internally. I gave him a couple of things that he can do. Apply it topically, put it as an enema. I gave him a lot of options so he can try this bottle of frankincense.
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, we were in a convention, and there was 7,000 people. And then I was sitting with my wife, and they play this video of stories that doTERRA has changed lives. And this guy shows on the screen, this huge screen. He shows up, and he's saying, my life changed because of frankincense. I'm alive. This kid, that's what he said. He was an old man. He's like, this kid gave me a bottle of frankincense, and I'm alive because of that. For me, that was like, okay, I am in the right company. I have the right product to help people. So for me, that's something that touched my heart. Later on, I talked to him when I knew that he was alive, and I said, well, thank you. And he said, well, thank you for giving me this bottle of frankincense. And stories like that is what have me in this company. You can have any other product, but whenever you save lives, there's nothing that passes that. So.
That's an amazing story, really something. I was yesterday, or I guess it was the end of last week. Time flies, but someone had contacted me, and she's a massage therapist, body worker, and she has a client with neuropathy. And so she wanted to know, what I would recommend, and she took advantage of these no-charge 15-minute consultations that I offer. And so it ends up that I remembered that I had a client that had neuropathy a while back, and I found the testimonial, and so I just want to read the part because I just found this. So he goes on about, because he came in for he and his wife came in for a treatment with Laura and myself, and so it was all the modalities. But he says, my health challenge concerned peripheral neuropathy. Dr. Dream suggested that I am stuck and need to begin a creative outlet to get started in a new direction. During this reading, we were introduced to essential oils, which have had an outstanding result for us. Deep blue essential oil was suggested to improve my neuropathy. In only one day, my neuropathy went from pins and needles to feeling very close to normal with no pain at all. The main reason for essential oil success, in my opinion, it has a higher frequency than the body. So this is a testimonial, and I thought, oh my gosh, how perfect for tonight's show. In one day. Now, neuropathy can come from diabetes, and it's restricted circulation, and it creates a very uncomfortable feeling in people's feet and in their legs, pins and needles, and even beyond that, and makes it very difficult to walk. And so, again, we never really know. We hear someone has something, but because it's not us. But when I put myself in that position, I'm like, here's a person that for 2 years now has had a very difficult time walking. He's far too young to be dealing with this, as if anyone should be dealing with that kind of discomfort. And in one day, he experiences a shift that is just completely takes him out of all the pain and everything. I mean, these are the results that are just, and it wasn't going to, well, I mean, he came to Dr. Dream, but it wasn't a doctor's office. It wasn't an emergency room. It wasn't, someone that's going to hook into you for appointments every week for the next year. It was one product, and a way to put it on and a way to do it, and then also an emotional body connection with what may be going on in the emotional body, but those two things together, and in one day everything shifted. That's why I'm with doTERRA right there.
That's awesome. Now that you're talking about Deep Blue, I don't know, let me just tell them the ingredients. Perhaps they're wondering what's Deep Blue. So Deep Blue is an essential oil blend of wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, blue tansy, German chamomile, helichrysum, and osmanthus. There was a guy, that we met just recently, I will say a month ago, and he had something like he broke his hand or something happened to his hand, and he had a cast for many, many months that when they took it off, he couldn't move his fingers. I mean, he was basically paralyzed on his hand. They were going to do therapy. They've tried everything to help him move his fingers. You know where I'm going to, right? Mm-hmm. We gave him the bottle of Deep Blue. We actually gave him the cream, the tubing.
The Deep Blue rub.
The Deep Blue rub. And he put it on that night. The next morning he calls us. He's like, this is a miracle. I have been trying for months to move my hand, and I couldn't. I put this stuff last night, and I can move my fingers, he said. He's like, I don't know what you guys gave me, and he's like, I'm going to take this to my doctor. So he went to the doctor, showed him the thing. He's like, well, maybe it was a coincidence. He's like, you kidding me? This thing works. He's like, okay, well, try this. Those little things that doctors have that is like an icy thing. What is it called? Anyway, it's like a liquid that is like menthol and things like that.
Right,
well,
like
try this.
Or icy hot or something.
Icy hot. He's like, try icy hot and see if it works, because maybe it's just the cream. So he's like, okay, I'll try the icy hot. Because this guy wasn't sure for 100%, he was like, okay, this is a miracle. He tried the icy hot, nothing, didn't touch it. He couldn't move his hand again. He's like, I try again, Deep Blue. I can move my hand again. Deep Blue is very powerful. Helichrysum, it regenerates the nerves. Blue tansy helps with circulation. German chamomile helps with the inflammation. Peppermint is just peppermint. It feels good to have peppermint. Wintergreen is methyl salicylate, which is the same active ingredient in aspirin. So we have key ingredients that are specifically to treat problems with nerves, pain, inflammation. So Deep Blue is a great essential oil, and it's a great product to have. And to change lives, to have it in story, I will tell anybody, to try Deep Blue, to try it and have an experience with that.
Absolutely. I have two quick stories about Deep Blue. One I've already told on the show, but I'm going to tell it again. I stubbed my toe one day. I was working in the house, and there was a cement block, and I stubbed my toe on it. I didn't have shoes on, and literally, Daniel, I dropped to the floor. I'm holding my foot. I'm doing some energy work on it, just trying to stay balanced. But my eyes are welling up, and the pain is getting more intense. It's not going away. And I say to Laura, please bring me I had made an inhaler of the Deep Blue. I said, Laura, please bring me that inhaler of Deep Blue. I couldn't even walk to get it. Literally on the ground, tears are now rolling down my face. She hands it to me, and I kid you not, and this story blows my mind even right now as I'm telling it. Again, it blows my mind. I take one deep inhalation off the inhaler of Deep Blue. The pain stopped. Literally stopped. I'm an energy worker. I'm doing Reiki. I'm pulling the pain out. Nothing was working. The pain stopped. My eyes. There was no reason to cry. I stood up. I mean, it was shocking to me. And I have to say something here. If somebody told me this story the way I just told it, I wouldn't believe it. But it was so powerful. It was so real for me, and it was just like, that's unbelievable. And yet, so believable, and as you can guess, we've got Deep Blue with us wherever we go. Whatever we do, Deep Blue is one of those that's just the mainstay. And then one more quick story, because what you were saying about the helichrysum in the deep blue, I have a dear friend who is big supporter of all the work that Laura and I do, and she's an amazing guitarist, and her fingers have been hurting from playing the guitar, and she started using deep blue and got tremendous results from that also.
Wow. That story that you're sharing about just smelling the oil is amazing. And I believe you, because aromatherapy is a powerful weapon to get rid of many, many things. Our brain is so powerful. Whenever we smell these essential oils and their purity, they're affecting everything in our bodies, our emotions, our hormones. Things that control our emotions are many glands in our brain. The pituitary gland is one of them. And just by smelling oils, you can calm yourself down. You can relieve pain, because most pain is emotional as well. So I totally agree with you. Powerful.
It is. It has been, one. I'm considered a multiple modality practitioner. And, the last time I guess I sat and looked around my office and counted up, there were about 16 different tools or modalities that I use in my practice. And I'd have to say I'd be at a real loss if essential oils were taken out of that toolbox. And as I'm sitting here, I'm kind of thinking that there'd be maybe, 10, 12 other ones that I would say, no, take this, but leave the essential oils before I got, put the essential oils on the butcher block, because they are so powerful, they work. And you know what? They're easy. I mean, every single morning all day long I drink purified water with lemon essential oil. It keeps me from wanting sodas or iced teas or anything else. I get my full water intake. I'm constantly, we do the 3 radio shows a week. I start off every show before the show starts by breathing in an oil, whatever it happens to be. I mean, they're such a part of everything with our lives that I couldn't imagine, not having them. And all the people that I know that are have had experiences with essential oils that have shifted things for them are the same way. Would never want to give up the essential oils, or so many of us travel a lot, and I guess that's something I'd like to ask you as a traveler. And I'm sure you're traveling with all sorts of stuff, but what are your main oils as a traveler? I know you just got back from Mexico. I think traveling is a lot of fun, but they're not easy. Traveling isn't as easy as it used to be in airports, and all the recycled air and different food and longer hours and all this. Tell us kind of what helps you when you're on the road.
All right. So when I travel, I normally bring a little bag, a doTERRA bag, and I bring my lemon essential oil. I bring my peppermint, my serenity, my elevation, my on guard, my melissa, my vetiver, and what other one? My peppermint, my deep blue, my on guard beetlets, and my frankincense. I was just going through my mind everything I take with me. Those essential oils are amazing for everything. I'm prepared. I mean, I will not die anywhere, because I had experiences where I was about to die. I was in Japan one day, and I was sitting in this table, and there's it's a sushi bar in the middle of nowhere. I think it's in Fukuoka, Japan, and I'm sitting there, and nobody speaks English. My friends there just barely. We were communicating. The translator person that came with me she went to a different place, and she left me there with these guys, this couple. Anyway, I'm eating this sushi, and I don't know what type of fish that was. That as soon as I put it in my mouth, my tongue started getting swollen, and my throat started itching. I couldn't breathe, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die in Japan. I cannot believe this. And I'm like, okay, how do you say 911? I mean, how do I communicate what's happening to me? Oh my gosh, thank goodness I have my oils with me, and I open my little thing, open my bottle of digestion, which is digestive oil, and I swallow probably like 13 to 14 drops of this oil, put it in my tongue, just put it there, and I just couldn't breathe. As soon as I put it on my mouth, I will say like 5 or 6 seconds later, my tongue just totally just got better, and my throat felt better, and I'm like, I gasped for air, and the guys were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm okay now, because I put the oil in my mouth. So definitely, I will always take my oils with me for anything, especially if I want to protect myself from the environment. I was in Mexico. There's a lot of pollution. There are a lot of viruses, and I'm originally from Ecuador, and I've been living in the States for, 17 years, 18 years. So I'm used to this food. I'm used to this weather, this environment. I go to Mexico, and I've been sick there, but I protect myself. I put Melissa essential oil and On Guard on the bottom of my feet to treat to help my immune system. To relax, I use my Serenity. I use my Vetiver. There's an amazing oil called Elevation that has Melissa in it as well. Very good for relaxation. And then to sleep as well, I put those oils. And peppermint when it gets too hot. So I'm prepared when I travel. And I put my oils in my bag, and I always make it. I always make it. So definitely you want to try those when you travel.
Yeah, I mean it's a lifesaver. Yeah, I was mentioning before about the inhalers. I have clients that travel quite a bit. And I had someone on the show last week that talked about opening up essential oils on airplanes and this and that, but you don't want to get in the way of anyone around you. And right. So we created a little zipper case with 5 inhalers, and one was peppermint, one was lavender, one was On Guard to boost the immune system, one was Breathe to support the respiratory system and kind of move through the recycled air on the airplanes. This particular client that I'm speaking of right now travels to Korea every 2 months, so it's a big flight. And I can't remember. Maybe it was Balance was the last one. But it was, he a businessman and everything. He doesn't have to always then smell like the oils on his hands, meeting people and all this. But he's got his little personal, medicine kit of whatever could happen. Jet lag, he's got the lavender inhaler. Needs some energy, he's got the peppermint inhaler. And I love it. I love it because again, it's preventative. It keeps our entire system boosted up, energized, and that's what makes the difference out there.
Right.
Good.
Definitely.
Good stuff.
I totally agree with you. That the essential oils are powerful, and and the good thing about the essential oils is that they can be used on somebody that is just born to somebody that is suffering of an old age or an age problem, and that's what it makes me so excited to be able to tell somebody, you can put these essential oils on your baby, on your newborn baby that just came from heaven, right there. Put a bottle of lavender on their feet, and you will see this baby relax. And so many experiences with children and older people that change lives.
Well, Daniel, we're nearing the end of the broadcast tonight. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you are incredibly busy. I know you just got back from your latest trip. It means a lot to us to have you here, and I'd love to have you back. So hopefully we can make that happen sometime.
For sure, Mark. Thank you so much for your show. I know you're doing great things. You're an excellent advocate of health and wellness, and I look forward to talk to you again and see what we have in store for the next time.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel, and have a good night.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
For more information about Dr. Dream and to book a no-charge 15-minute phone consultation, please visit healthyfamilynow.com. The Essential Oil Show will be back next week on Awaken the Dream Radio. Good night, everyone.